I need to make a few comments here. First of all, on that little tour of Sardis that I did, I was looking at the videos here this morning and noticed that that video is labeled wrong, number one, and number two, I think I was referring to east the whole time in the video. I started on the west side of town, which is to my left, and went from left to right, which would be west to east. And I think I said east the whole time in the video, so that's wrong. The video, the camera is facing east and we're driving west to east. So I just wanted to clear that up. Another thing, on the video that's got the description of hand tool blather, I was kind of sounding like I was poking fun at people who use hand tools, and maybe it was in the best sense of the word, poking fun, but the reason I was thinking about that is this article here. This is Fine Woodworking Magazine. This issue is December 1997. It's got an article in here by John Brown, who is a Welsh chair maker. And in it, he pretty much disparages anybody who uses machines as being not very skilled, and that machines were made for that particular reason, so that unskilled people could do tedious work and be able to enter the woodworking field. And that's kind of what's happened with the American cabinet, or American woodworking machine manufacturers. They have made tools inexpensive, and anybody who wants to become a woodworker can. Just go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, or any of these other tool companies, buy a few tools, and there you go. Set them up in your garage, and suddenly you become a woodworker. Now, professionals like me don't like it whenever we have to compete with guys like that, because we've put in a lot of hours, and granted, we don't do woodworking training here in America like they do in Europe, which is a shame. And the reason why I say that is, when you and I were in school, we had a shop class program, both wood and metal. I don't know if Wadsworth still has it. I know when I was in the high school, we had no wood shop. It was industrial arts, which was metalworking, electricity, and graphic arts. And I think they did add a wood shop program after we graduated. I don't know if that is still going on or not. But we have traded out the trades, the trade school, and the training in high school and middle school of the trades like metalworking and woodworking and things like that for college prep, and everything is geared toward getting a higher education. I would challenge people on that, as far as there's a lot of skill involved in woodworking. As you saw here on this board, there is math being used, and actually now with CNC technology, woodworking is really a high-tech trade, even though, and John Brown would probably have a conniption hear me say this, but with the production machines that we use nowadays, there needs to be a skill level there. Now, I agree with him that if you go through an apprenticeship in Europe, you're going to be probably a better woodworker. They have an intensive program over there that I've read a little bit about. It was in maybe a Fine Woodworking article somewhere, where it's a certain amount of years and you train under a master, and to get to be able to take on business and hang out your shingle, you have to pass a test. They stick you in an unfamiliar shop. and they give you a project that you've never seen before. You have a certain amount of time to build it, and then they will come in periodically and test you on certain woodworking skills. And I think it's like a 3-day process, this whole testing procedure. I could have that wrong. I'm just thinking from memory here. But anyway, woodworking in America is not like it is in Europe. And I look around at some of the projects that I go on and wonder how these people ever got by it, and especially in West Virginia, because to work as a contractor in West Virginia, you actually have to pass tests to get a license. You have to get a business license at the bare minimum. I actually have a general building license. The test for a general building license is 4 hours long. It's open book, but you have 6 books from which to draw information. I flunked it the first time, almost flunked it the second time I took it. Then they also have a business and law examination, and I think that was out of 1 book, but it's a 2-hour test. And anyway, I passed that one first time around. On the general building, there was a lot of questions on stuff about concrete and drywall, plastering, things that I don't really deal with much, but in order to get that designation, those questions were on the test. Now, for those in the know who were watching me plane this piece of wood yesterday, probably thought, what an idiot, the guy isn't using the right tool for the job, and it's dull besides. Well, I know that. I know both of those things. Actually, this is the tool you need here to really flatten wood properly. It's called a smoothing plane, and this article in here, this also is a fine woodworking, was by Garrett Hack. Now Garrett is one of those guys who goes to flea markets and auctions and finds these old boat anchor planes, as I like to call them, and fixes them up and tunes them up. There's also a contributor to fine woodworking named Mike Dunbar who does the same thing, and there's probably others too. I know I've read a number of articles. They seem to cycle these articles through every once in a while, and that's fine. There are people out there, and maybe some of you have done this, who will buy an old rusty car, you know, a classic, if you will, or even maybe not a classic, just something that's catches your eye. It's a kind of a hot rod or an unusual car, and you'll fix it up and you'll make it look really cool, and that's fine. I'm just not that kind of a person, and that's basically what I was saying, even though I was kind of poking fun a little bit. But anyway, that's all I have to say on that. Fine Woodworking is an excellent resource that I've used. Over here to my right, I've got a lot of back issues that I go to and pull from techniques that I've seen in there. Some of them are things that I wouldn't really use, and other things are things that I've used, especially unusual techniques. So anyway, this is how I educate myself, is reading magazines, trade magazines, and publications like this.